Let me ask you something. How long have you been waiting? Waiting to start the business. Waiting to hit the gym. Waiting to fix your diet. To learn the skill. To have that hard conversation. Waiting to finally do the thing you keep telling yourself you'll do when the time is right. How long has it been? A month? A year? 5 years? Be honest with yourself right now. Because this video isn't for people who have it figured out. This video is for the person who knows exactly what they need to do and still isn't doing it. If that's you, keep watching. Because what I'm about to tell you might be the most important thing you hear this year. The right time is never coming. And deep down, you already know that. Think about the version of you from 3 years ago. What did that person want to do? What did they say they'd start soon? What dream did they have that's still sitting in the same place? Completely untouched, collecting dust? Now think about this, 3 years from now, are you going to be looking back at today the same exact way? Because that's what's actually happening right now. You're not standing still. You're moving backwards. Every single day you wait, the gap between who you are and who you could be gets wider. The dream gets further. The excuses get louder. And the worst part, you're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're not broken. That's what makes this so painful. You know what you need to do. You've known for a long time. You've watched the videos. You've read the articles. You've saved the quotes and highlighted the books and made the plans and set the alarms. You have the information, but you're still here. Still waiting. Waiting to feel confident. Waiting to feel motivated. Waiting to feel ready. And I want you to sit with that for a second. Really feel it. How much of your life has been spent in that state? Knowing and not doing. Planning and not starting. Almost ready. Almost there. Almost. That's not a comfortable feeling. That feeling you're feeling right now, that low hum of guilt in your chest, that's important. Don't run from it, because that feeling is the distance between who you are and who you're supposed to be. And if you don't close that gap, it will quietly become the story of your life. So why does this keep happening? Why do smart, capable people, people with real dreams, real potential, real desire to change, keep waiting? Because of one of the biggest lies the modern world sells you, you need to feel ready before you begin. It's everywhere. Self-help books tell you to build confidence first. Social media shows you highlight reels of people who look like they have it all figured out before they started. Even the people around you, they say things like, make sure you're ready before you make a big move. And so you believe it. You wait for the signal, the feeling. The moment when something inside you finally clicks and you know, now is the time. But here's what that waiting actually looks like in practice. You spend the morning scrolling instead of working, because you're not in the right headspace yet. You push the workout to tomorrow, because you're tired and you'll be more motivated then. You delay starting the business, because you need just a little more knowledge, a little more savings, a little more certainty. You avoid the hard conversation, because the timing isn't quite right. And every single one of those decisions feels reasonable in the moment. Every single one feels logical, responsible, even, but string them together over months and years. And what do you have? A life half-lived, a potential never touched, a person who is always almost ready. That's the lie. Readiness is not a prerequisite for action. It is the result of action. Here's what nobody teaches you about readiness, and I mean really teaches you, not just puts on a motivational poster. Readiness is built. It is constructed, brick by brick, through doing things before you feel prepared to do them. Think about every skill you have right now. Every single one. At some point, you didn't have it. At some point, you were a beginner, uncertain, clumsy, unsure of yourself. And the only reason you have that skill today is because you started before you were good at it. You didn't wait until you could swim before you got in the water. You got in the water, terrified, flailing, and you learned to swim. That's how everything works. Every single thing worth doing in your life. Now think about every person you deeply admire. The people who built something real, who changed their body, their business, their life, who became someone radically different from who they started as. Do you think they waited until they felt ready? No, they were terrified. They doubted themselves. They had the same inner voice you have, the one that says not yet. Not now. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? The difference, the only difference, is they acted anyway. They took the first step while still shaking. And that first step built a second. And the second built a third. And somewhere down the road, somewhere in the doing, they became ready. Not before they started, after. This is the sequence that actually works. Action, evidence, belief, confidence, more action. Not the other way around. Never the other way around. You don't feel confident and then start. You start. Gather evidence that you can do this. And then confidence follows. You don't feel disciplined and then show up consistently. You show up, and discipline is what that builds into. The action always comes first. So what's really standing between you and starting? Because I promise you, it is not what you think it is. It's not time. You have the exact same 24 hours as every person who has ever built something you want. Elon Musk has 24 hours. The person who started the business you wished you started has 24 hours. You have 24 hours. It's not money. The most important changes you need to make: waking up earlier, eating better, training your mind, building your character, cost nothing. Literally $0. It's not the right circumstances. History is full of people who built extraordinary lives from circumstances far worse than yours. People who had less time, less money, less support, more obstacles, and still did it. And it is not information. You already know enough. You know more than enough. You know exactly what your next step is. You're just not taking it. So what is it? It's fear. That's it. That's the whole answer. But not just any fear. Fear that has learned to disguise itself as logic. Fear wearing the costume of reason. And your brain is extraordinarily good at this costume design. It will tell you, I'll start Monday. I just need a fresh start. Fear, it will tell you, I need to research this more before I commit. Fear, it will tell you, the timing isn't right. Too much going on right now. Fear, it will tell you, I need to get a few things in order first. Fear, every single one sounds completely rational. Every single one is your nervous system trying to protect you from the discomfort of uncertainty, from the risk of failure, from the possibility that you might try your absolute hardest and still fall short. Because if you never really try, you never really fail. That's the deal fear is offering you. Stay comfortable. Avoid the pain of failure. Keep waiting. And it sounds like a good deal until you realize what it actually costs. The cost of waiting is not just the time you lose. It's the person you don't become. Every day you don't train is not just a day without exercise. It's a day you didn't build the version of yourself who is disciplined, who is capable, who feels at home in their own body. Every day you don't work on your craft is not just a wasted day. It's a day you didn't build skill, didn't grow, didn't move closer to mastery. Every day you stay in a situation you know you need to leave, a job, a relationship, a habit, a mindset, is not just a day of discomfort. It's a day you chose that discomfort over the unknown discomfort of change. And here's the cruelest truth of all: not trying is failing. It is the slowest, quietest, most invisible form of failure, but it is failure. It doesn't happen in a single dramatic moment. It happens gradually, imperceptibly, day by day, choice by choice, year by year, until one day you're looking back on your life, and you realize, this is not the life you chose. This is the life you defaulted into. The life that happened to you while you were busy waiting. That's the real risk you're taking every time you say not yet. Not the risk of failing, the risk of never knowing who you could have become. So how do you actually break this pattern? Not with a better morning routine. Not with the right playlist or the right journal or the right productivity system. Not with motivation, because motivation is a feeling. And feelings come and go like weather. Building your life on motivation is building on sand. You break it with something much more powerful. A decision. Not a goal. Not a resolution. Not a plan. A decision. There is a moment, and you've felt this before, where something shifts inside you. Where you stop negotiating with yourself. Where you stop asking should I, and you just decide, yes, this, now. That's the moment everything changes. Not the first workout. Not the first sale. Not the first page written. The decision that happens before all of that. And here's the thing about that decision: it doesn't require perfect conditions. It doesn't require you to feel ready. It doesn't even require you to feel good. It just requires you to say, I've been waiting long enough. Waiting has cost me more than starting ever could. I'm doing this. And then, and this is the most important part, you do one thing. Not everything. One thing. You put on the shoes. You open the laptop. You send the message. You make the call. You write the first paragraph. One action, imperfect and uncomfortable, in the direction you want to go. That's it, because here's what happens when you move before you're ready: your brain updates. It gets new information. It sees, I did the scary thing. And I survived. The world didn't end. I'm still here. And I'm still standing. And the next time, the fear is just a little bit smaller. Not gone, smaller. And you act again. And it gets smaller again. And you act again. This is how the person you want to become gets built. One uncomfortable action at a time. I want to go deeper than behavior here. Because changing what you do is important, but changing who you are is everything. You don't just want to do different things. You want to be a fundamentally different person. And the only path to becoming that person runs directly through doing what that person does, right now. Before you've earned it. Before it's comfortable. Before you feel qualified. Every action you take is a vote. A vote for the person you're becoming. When you wake up early even though you don't want to, that's a vote. When you train even though you're tired, vote. When you work on your craft even though nothing is happening yet. Even though no one is watching. Even though it seems pointless, vote. And when you hit snooze, that's also a vote. When you skip the workout, vote. When you choose comfort over growth, vote. You're always voting. You never stop voting. Every single moment of every single day. You are building the person you will be in 3, 5, 10 years. The question isn't whether you're casting votes. You are. Always. The question is, which person are you voting for? The one who always has a reason to wait, or the one who decided that they were done waiting? Because I'll tell you something about the person you want to become. The version of you that's stronger. More disciplined. More successful. More at peace. They're not some distant fantasy. They are a real person. A possible person. But they don't exist yet. They're being built. Right now. By you. By the choices you make in this moment. In the next moment. And the one after that. And if you keep voting for the person who waits, that's the person you'll become. Every person who has ever changed their life has a version of this same story. They'll tell you, I wasn't ready. I had no idea what I was doing. I was scared. I thought about it for months. Maybe years. And then one day, I just did it. And everything was hard and messy and uncertain at the start. And nothing went the way I planned, but I started. And that starting was the whole thing. That's not a motivational myth. That's the actual mechanism. The writer who didn't feel like a writer until they'd written 1,000 bad pages. The entrepreneur who didn't feel like a businessman until they'd survived their first failure. The athlete who didn't feel like an athlete until they'd pushed through the days when they absolutely did not want to be there. The feeling of readiness is not the starting line. It's the finish line of a different race, the race of doing it before you feel like it. And you can start that race today. Right now. So let me leave you with this. There is no version of your future, not one, where you look back and say, I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I hesitated. I'm glad I kept finding reasons to stay comfortable. That version doesn't exist. The only version of your future you'll be proud of is the one where you saw the fear. Felt it completely. And moved anyway. You don't have to be great to start. You never did. But you have to start to ever be great. The gap between who you are and who you could be is not closed by more information. Not by more planning. Not by waiting for the stars to align. It's closed by doing. By one imperfect action taken before you feel ready. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Right now. Not after this video. Not tomorrow. Right now. Think of the one thing you've been putting off. The thing you already know you need to do. The thing that came to mind the moment I asked that question at the start of this video. Now do one thing in that direction. One thing. Tonight. Not the whole thing. Not the perfect thing. One real, concrete, uncomfortable step. Because the person you could become has been waiting for you far longer than you've been waiting to feel ready. It's time. Stop waiting. Start.